Welcome to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right? That constant buzz of information, overload, like the world just spinning faster and faster, and you're just trying to, well, keep up.
Oh, absolutely. It's something we hear a lot.
Yeah, it's really common, especially, in our professional lives today. We're all aiming to stay ahead, make sure our skills are still valuable, and find that edge, that thing that keeps our careers moving forward, not just surviving, but actually thriving.
Hmm.
So today we're diving deep into something genuinely transformative, generative AI. And look, this isn't just another piece of software, another app. It feels like a fundamental shift. I'd put it up there with, say, the internet, maybe even electricity.
That's a big claim, but I think it holds water.
Right. We're framing it as career augmentation. That's the key word. Augmentation, not just, automation. Our mission for this deep dive is basically to give you a shortcut, a way to really grasp this huge transformation, and crucially, how you can actually use its power for your own professional growth, how you can, genuinely future-proof your career path. We've gathered a ton of sources for this one, really extensive stuff, and honestly, they're packed with practical, usable insights.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's so fascinating looking through this material is that the main story isn't really about AI taking jobs, which I know is the big fear for many.
Yeah, that's the headline you always see.
Right. But the real narrative, the one emerging from the data and the case studies, it's about how AI is profoundly changing how we actually do our jobs. And just as importantly, what skills are going to be truly valuable going forward.
Okay.
So we'll unpack the basics, the tech itself, then look at how it's being used in different jobs right now. We'll talk about upskilling, what you need to learn, and even, how to use AI to help you find your next role, like having an AI co-pilot for your career journey.
All right, let's dive right in then. Part one, we're calling this the generative AI revolution, understanding the foundation. So to kick things off, when we say generative AI, what are we actually defining? What makes it different from, say, other types of AI people might have heard about?
That's a great place to start. Fundamentally, generative AI is a specific branch of artificial intelligence. Its whole purpose is creating new, original content.
New content.
Exactly. Not just analyzing data that already exists, but literally generating fresh text, images, computer code, music, even video, pretty much from scratch.
How does it do that?
Well, it learns. It learns from absolutely massive amounts of existing data, text, images, whatever. It identifies these deep underlying patterns and structures within that data. And once it understands those patterns, it can produce completely new outputs. Outputs that look and feel very similar, stylistically, structurally, to stuff humans create.
Yeah.
But they're entirely novel.
Okay, so it's definitely not just a souped-up search engine or like a smarter spreadsheet. It's actually a creator.
Precisely. It's generative. It generates...
And the scale of this, the impact. I've seen some numbers that are just, mind-boggling.
They really are. McKinsey Global Institute, for example, they're forecasting that generative AI could add something like, get this, $2.6 trillion to $4.4 trillion annually to the global economy.
Trillion with a T.
Trillion annually. It's not just a big number. It really speaks to how pervasive this is becoming, touching almost every single industry.
And this isn't some far-off future prediction either, right?
Not at all. Our sources are saying that by 2026, which is just around the corner, it's expected that over 80% of organizations worldwide will have already integrated generative AI into their operations somehow.
80% by 2026.
Right. Yeah. So it's clearly not a niche tool anymore. It's rapidly becoming a core part of business infrastructure. You see it in marketing, software development, finance, healthcare, across the board. It's what economists call general purpose technology, or GPT, not to be confused with the other GPT.
Right, like electricity or the internet, something that changes everything.
Exactly. And what that means for you listening right now is that your career strategy can't afford to be narrow anymore. It really demands a holistic rethink. You need to look at your skills, your workflow, how you create value. Because the basic economics of creating content, writing code, generating insights, they're all being fundamentally rewritten by this technology.
Rewriting the economics. That's a really powerful frame. And to actually leverage this effectively, it seems like you need to understand more than just what it does. You need a sense of how it works, conceptually at least.
That's absolutely key.
So can you peel back the layers a bit for us? Explain some of these core principles. Like, what is this latent space representation? It sounds very complex. How does that let AI be creative?
It sounds more intimidating than it is, really. Think of latent space representation like this. Imagine the AI builds an internal map or maybe a dream space. It's not just memorizing millions of cat pictures. Instead, it learns the essence of catness.
Yes.
Yeah, the underlying patterns, the relationships between features, pointy ears, whiskers, for texture, the way they move. It creates this compressed, abstract understanding. And because it understands the concept of cat at this deep level, it can then generate entirely new, believable pictures of cats that have never actually existed.
Ah, okay. So it's distilling the core idea, not just copying examples. That makes sense.
Exactly. It's about understanding patterns so deeply it can invent new variations that still fit the pattern.
Okay. And then there's something called adversarial training. That sounds competitive. How does that one work?
It is. Think of generative adversarial networks, or GANs. You basically have two AIs locked in a competition. One is the generator. Think of it like an art forger trying to create fake masterpieces.
Right.
The other is the discriminator. That's the expert art detective trying to spot the fakes. The generator makes fakes. The discriminator tries to tell them apart from real art.
So they're constantly trying to outsmart each other.
Precisely. And this constant back and forth, this adversarial process, forces both of them to get incredibly good at their jobs. The generator gets better at making ultra-realistic fakes, and the discriminator gets better at spotting even the tiniest flaws. This dynamic is what drives the quality of AI-generated content, especially things like images and digital art, to become almost indistinguishable from human work.
Wow, it's like an AI arms race for quality, a constant game of cat and mouse refining each other. Okay, so if GANs are like that competitive art studio, what about models like ChatGPT? They feel different. How does something like autoregressive modeling make them so good at conversation?
That's a great question, and it's a different approach. Autoregressive modeling is the powerhouse behind models like the GPT series. Yes, the other GPT,
Right.
like in ChatGPT. These models work sequentially.
Sequentially.
Yeah. They generate content text, usually by predicting the very next piece based
Yeah.
on all the pieces that came before it. So it predicts the next word, or sometimes even the next character or token, based on the preceding sequence.
So it's always just figuring out what comes next.
Basically, yes. This next token prediction capability, when trained on absolutely colossal datasets like huge chunks of the internet, is what gives models like ChatGPT their remarkable fluency and conversational ability. It's building the response one piece at a time, always trying to predict the most plausible next step to create a coherent whole.
Okay, so we've peeked under the hood a bit, seen the gears turning, but the real impact, the thing that affects your job, your daily work, that comes when we see it in action. You mentioned earlier that traditional AI is mostly discriminative. How does generative AI flip that? How does it go from just analyzing what is to actually creating what wasn't? And why is that difference so important for our careers?
That really is the crux of it. Traditional AI, the kind most people were familiar with until recently, is primarily discriminative.
Yeah.
Its main job is to look at existing data and make a judgment, classify something, make a prediction.
Like, is this email spam, or will this customer click the ad?
Exactly. Or detecting fraud, categorizing images, recommending products based on past behavior. It's understanding the world as it currently is. But generative AI, it's fundamentally creative. Its primary function isn't analysis, it's production. It generates new data, new content that simply didn't exist before.
So creation versus classification.
Precisely. And this shift from analysis to creation is what gives generative AI its unique and, frankly, disruptive power, especially in knowledge work and creative fields. It means AI is evolving from a tool that helps us understand the present to a partner that helps us build what comes next.
Okay, I can see how that changes the game completely. So now that we have a handle on what it is and roughly how it works, let's pivot. Let's look at how it's actually reshaping different professional roles. Part 2, AI as your co-pilot, augmenting professional functions.
Right. Because the real magic isn't just the theory, it's how this tech integrates into your actual workflow. It really can become a genuine co-pilot, automating the grunt work, speeding up complex processes, and crucially, freeing you, the human, to focus on the more strategic, high-value stuff.
It's about augmentation, not replacement.
That's the key message coming through. And the gains are measurable in productivity, in innovation things that were maybe just pipe dreams before.
Okay, let's kick off with a big one. The software development lifecycle, the SDLC. This whole process seems ripe for this kind of augmentation. AI isn't just a nice to have here. It feels like it's fundamentally changing how teams work.
Absolutely. It allows development teams to shift their energy. Less time on routine tasks, more time on, creative problem-solving, architectural thinking.
So starting at the beginning, planning and analysis.
Yeah, even there. AI can bring a layer of data-driven intelligence. It can scan historical project data, identify potential risk patterns early on, give you more accurate forecasts for timelines, for resource needs. It can even analyze requirement documents, user stories, and automatically flag potential conflicts or gaps.
That sounds useful.
Incredibly. Some sources mention e-commerce platforms seeing like a 30% reduction in project scope creep just from using AI in this phase. Imagine that requirements actually staying stable. That's huge for any project manager.
Definitely a dream scenario. And what about the design phase?
That gets a massive speed boost too. We're seeing tools now that can take a natural language prompt, something like, create a wireframe for a user login page with two-factor auth, and actually generate UI/UX mockups, sometimes even architectural diagrams, almost instantly.
Seriously? From just text?
Yeah, it means much faster prototyping, quicker iterations. Some companies are reporting they're getting through design cycles 2, even 3 times faster than they used to. That speed lets you experiment more, find the right solution faster.
Okay, then you move into actual development, the coding part.
Right. And here, AI assistants like GitHub Copilot are becoming really common. They function like an intelligent pair programmer sitting next to you. They can generate whole snippets of code, suggest completions in real time as you type, even help refactor old, clunky legacy code into modern languages.
So automating the boilerplate stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That automation of routine code means some big companies are cutting the time it takes to develop new features literally in half. Developers aren't just coding faster, they're spending less time on the repetitive bits and more time on the really complex logic, the innovative parts.
Makes sense. Then comes testing, quality assurance. That's always been pretty labor-intensive.
Hugely. And AI is making big inroads there too. These tools can automatically generate really comprehensive test cases, including those tricky edge cases that humans sometimes miss. They can also synthesize realistic-looking test data to simulate real-world conditions better.
Are there actual results from this?
Oh, yeah. We saw one example, a big global insurance company. They reported a 70% reduction in the time spent on regression testing and a 30% improvement in accuracy after bringing in generative AI for testing.
70% reduction. That's massive.
Uh,
But what happens to the testers then? Does that mean fewer jobs?
It really seems to be shifting the role more than eliminating it. Instead of spending hours manually running the same regression tests over and over, the human testers can focus on designing more sophisticated test strategies, doing more exploratory testing, the kind that requires human intuition, and interpreting the results from the AI. They ensure the AI isn't missing subtle things. It elevates their role, really.
Okay, so it becomes more strategic.
Exactly. And finally, even after deployment, in the maintenance phase, AI keeps adding value. It can analyze system logs to pinpoint the root cause of bugs faster, suggest fixes, power chatbots for basic customer support, even automatically update technical docs when the code changes.
Wow.
We saw a case from a financial services firm that used AI for predictive maintenance on their systems and cut their mean time to repair for production issues by 40%. So it's truly end-to-end augmentation from the initial idea right through to keeping the software running smoothly.
That's really impressive across the whole life cycle. Okay, shifting gears. What does this mean for you if you're in, say, marketing or communications? It sounds like AI enables a big shift here too, moving from just reacting to campaigns to being more predictive, more hyper-personalized.
Definitely. Think about predictive analytics and strategy. Look at the Bayer case study. They use generative AI combined with real-time data, Google Trends, climate data to actually predict regional flu outbreaks.
Predict flu outbreaks.
Yeah, which then allow them to proactively tailor their advertising for relevant products before the outbreak hit peak in that area. The result, an 85% year-over-year jump in click-through rates, and their cost per click dropped by 33%.
Wow, so they were advertising medicine before people felt sick based on data.
Essentially, yes, targeting based on predicted need. Imagine applying that kind of predictive power to your own product or service. It's a huge advantage.
Absolutely. And what about just creating content? Marketing needs a lot of content.
Right, and for content automation and cost reduction, look at Sage Publishing. They publish over 100 textbooks a year. Writing marketing descriptions for every single one was a massive task.
I bet.
They brought in Jasper AI, fed it basic info like the title, the abstract. The AI generated the book descriptions. They cut their content writing time by 99% and slashed related marketing costs by 50%.
99% time reduction. That's almost unbelievable. That must free up so much human time for higher level strategy.
That's exactly the point. And it also applies to marketing strategy optimization. There's an agency example, 24 Sales. They used to spend 40 hours a month just creating ideal customer profiles, ICPs, for their clients manually.
40 hours is a full week.
Right. They adopted an AI platform for this. Now it takes them 5 hours a month. And because it's so much faster, they're producing 8 times more client reports and saving over $1,000 a month in the process. It basically levels the playing field, giving smaller agencies the kind of analytical power that used to belong only to the big players.
Incredible efficiency gains. Okay, let's talk data. Data analysis, business intelligence. This feels like another area ripe for disruption, maybe democratization.
Exactly. We're seeing the rise of generative BI. These are new tools letting non-technical folks interact with complex data just using plain English.
So you don't need to be a SQL expert anymore.
It's unless for basic queries. Think about automated data preparation. Analysts often say they spend, 50, maybe even 70% of their time just cleaning, transforming, structuring data before they can even start analyzing it.
The grunt work.
The grunt work. Generative AI is automating a huge chunk of that. This frees up the analyst to focus on the meaning behind the numbers, the strategy, the interpretation.
And you mentioned querying in plain English.
Yeah, natural language querying and visualization. Platforms like Microsoft Power BI, Databricks AI BI, they have these co-pilots now. You can literally type in a question like, show me monthly sales trends compared to last year, broken down by region and product category.
And it just understands.
It understands, and it generates the charts, the dashboards, even narrative summaries explaining the trends instantly. This makes deep data insights accessible to way more people in an organization, not just the data specialists.
Okay, but if everyone can generate reports, does that create new problems?
It does. That's the paradox. This ease of access is fantastic, but it also increases the risk of people misinterpreting data or making bad decisions based on maybe flawed AI-generated insights if the underlying data or model isn't right.
So the role of the data pro changes again.
Massively. Your value isn't just in building the dashboard anymore, it evolves. You become the architect and guardian of the data ecosystem, ensuring data quality, building trustworthy models for the AI, teaching others how to ask good questions and interpret the results responsibly. You're ensuring data integrity in a world where suddenly everyone feels like an analyst.
That's a really important shift from builder to guardian and educator. Okay, what about content creators, writers, editors, strategists? How does AI help them? Sounds like it could be a powerful assistant for tackling the blank page.
Absolutely. It's great for getting started. For research and ideation, AI can summarize long reports, pull out key stats, analyze trends, suggest relevant topics. It's like having a tireless research assistant.
But I sense a but coming.
There's always a but with AI output. The critical caveat here is human validation. AI models can hallucinate. They can make stuff up. Plausible-sounding facts, fake quotes, non-existent sources. You have to check everything. Your domain expertise is the filter. You need to know enough to spot when the AI is wrong.
Okay, so it's a starting point, not the final word. What about getting the structure down?
It's great for outlining and drafting. Staring at a blank page. Ask the AI to generate a logical structure for an article, maybe with headlines, subheadings, even some starter sentences for each section. It gives you a solid foundation to build on, to refine, to add your unique voice.
And optimization, headlines, SEO.
Yeah, AI is brilliant at headline and SEO optimization. It can analyze tons of data on what headlines perform well and suggest compelling options. It can generate keyword lists, analyze competitors, even integrate with SEO tools to give you real-time data on search volume and difficulty.
What about reaching different audiences? Personalization.
That's another strength. Personalization and localization. AI can tailor content to specific user demographics based on data, boosting engagement. And the more advanced models go beyond simple translation. They can handle culturally relevant localization, understanding slang, idioms, cultural nuances, to make content truly resonate in different global markets. Imagine adapting a global campaign for dozens of local cultures almost automatically.
That's incredibly powerful. So looking across all these different functions, software marketing, data, content, there's a clear pattern emerging, isn't there?
Definitely.
AI seems to be taking over the tactical, the repetitive, the time-consuming stuff, writing basic code, drafting simple ad copy, cleaning data, creating first drafts.
The boilerplate work, essentially.
Right. So this raises that crucial question again. How does this affect the value of the professional? What's the core takeaway for someone listening, worried about their job?
I think the core insight isn't that your job is disappearing, but that its center of gravity is shifting. Your unique human value, your competitive edge, lies increasingly in your ability to direct the AI, to critically evaluate its output, and to creatively enhance what it produces.
So it elevates the human role.
Absolutely, it pushes your value upward. The skills that matter most aren't about executing routine tasks flawlessly anymore. They're about strategic direction, critical judgment, creative problem-solving, storytelling, ethical oversight. The AI handles more of the doing, freeing you up to master the deciding and the directing.
So the software developer's value is more in architecture, the marketers in strategy, the analysts in asking the right questions, the writers in the unique voice and final polish.
Exactly. Your expertise becomes more valuable,
Hmm.
but it's applied at a higher level.
Which brings us neatly to the next point. If this is the shift, what specific tools do people need to actually achieve this augmentation?
Perfect transition. Let's move into part 3, building your AI toolkit. Because knowing about AI is one thing, but actually using it effectively means choosing the right tools for your specific needs. And wow, this market is just exploding with options.
It really is. Let's start with text and content generation platforms. These are fundamental for anyone in marketing, comms, sales, content roles. Now you've got your all-rounders like ChatGPT, great for general-purpose text tasks.
But there are more specialized ones too.
Oh, yes. If you need something specifically for business comms, like drafting email replies quickly or generating sales proposals, maybe triggered from your CRM, Lindy is really strong there. Starts around $50 a month.
Okay. What about marketing teams specifically? For them, Jasper is often a go-to. It's really good at maintaining a consistent brand voice across different assets, coordinating campaign content. Also starts around $49 a month per user.
Oh.
Then there's copy.ai, which is great for banging out ad copy variations quickly, lots of templates, good for multi-step content workflows. Similar price point, $49 a month.
And for SEO-focused content.
Sonic is really optimized for that. It has features like an AI article writer, brand voice cloning. It helps generate outlines with H2s, H3s, FAQs, meta descriptions. It's built with SEO in mind. And it starts a bit lower, around $20 a month.
So the key is matching the tool to the task.
Absolutely. You have to think strategically. What's my primary use case? What features are essential? Who is this tool really built for? And obviously, what's a budget?
Makes sense. Now, what about the tech folks? Developers, data scientists, engineers, code generation tools seem like they're becoming non-negotiable.
They really are. These AI coding assistants integrate right into your IDE, your development environment. They speed things up, help catch errors, assist with tricky bits.
So who are the main players?
Well, OpenAI's models like GPT-4 and the newer ones like o1 are very powerful for code generation, explaining code, debugging. They're also increasingly multimodal. Plans start from $20 a month.
And GitHub Copilot. That one gets mentioned a lot.
Yeah, GitHub Copilot is hugely popular. Real-time code completion, detects errors, makes suggestions based on the entire context of your project's code base. Starts at just $10 a month, and it's actually free for students and people working on open source projects.
That's great. Any others?
Sure. AWS Code Whisperer is Amazon's offering. Real-time suggestions, but also does security vulnerability scanning and helps track open source licenses. It's free for individual use or $19 a month for the professional tier. Tab9 is another strong contender, known for its AI code completion and support for team-specific models. That starts around $12 a month per user. And Google has its offerings too, like Gemini and Cody integrated into Google Cloud, supporting lots of languages, typically with usage-based pricing.
So again, the choice depends on your specific stack.
Exactly. Which languages you use, which IDE you prefer, your cloud ecosystem, and your budget. There's usually a good fit out there.
Okay, one more category. Multimedia. Generating images, video, audio. This feels like a rapidly evolving space.
It is, and incredibly powerful for creatives, marketers, designers. For more professional use cases like creating training videos or corporate comms with realistic AI avatars. Synthesia is probably the leader right now. It can generate high-res videos, avatars speaking over 140 languages. Around $29 a month gets you up to 250 minutes.
What about more creative cinematic video? I keep hearing about new tools there.
Yeah, that's where things get really exciting, but also maybe a bit more experimental. You have tools like Runway, which has advanced features for creating stylized artistic videos. Max length is short, though, maybe 16 seconds, starts at $12 a month. Google Veo aims for higher resolution and better physics simulation, max 8 seconds, around $20 a month. OpenAI Sora can do longer clips, maybe 5 to 20 seconds, probably better, where absolute photorealism isn't the top goal. Pricing seems variable, $2,200 a month perhaps.
Wow, quite a range.
Then there's Kling, which is positioned as more filmmaker-friendly, cinematic style, max 10 seconds, pretty affordable at $6.99 a month. And Adobe Firefly is focusing on generating legally safe, sort of stock footage or B-roll style clips, max 5 seconds, around $10 a month as part of Creative Cloud.
So lots of options, but maybe limitations on length and realism for the really creative stuff still?
For now, yes.
Yeah.
It's advancing incredibly fast, but those are factors to consider. So, okay, we've talked tools, but just having the tools isn't enough, right?
No.
Knowing how to wield them strategically and figuring out what skills you need to develop, that's the real key.
Absolutely. Which brings us nicely to part 4, upskilling for the AI era. This is about your personal learning journey, because true career augmentation, it's not just about learning software features, it's about cultivating deeper, more strategic competencies. So what are those core skills people really need to focus on mastering?
Well, the skills that seem most durable, most valuable in this new landscape, they're less about operating a specific tool and more about the human ability to guide, validate, and strategically deploy AI. The absolute foundation, I'd say, is advanced prompt engineering.
We hear that term a lot. What does advanced mean here?
It means going way beyond asking simple questions. It's about learning to craft really detailed, context-rich, precise instructions. You need to tell the AI exactly what you want, the format, the tone, the constraints, the persona it should adopt. Vague prompts get you vague, often useless results. Mastering prompt engineering is like learning a new language, a language that lets you command incredible generative power effectively.
Okay, so directing the AI accurately, what's next?
Critical output evaluation. This is huge. You need to develop the skill to rigorously assess what the AI gives you back. It's more than just proofreading for typos.
Right, you mentioned hallucinations earlier.
Exactly. You need to check for factual accuracy. Spot subtle biases that might creep in from the training data. Recognize those hallucinations, plausible sounding but completely false information, fake citations, made-up data points, and this skill absolutely relies on your domain expertise. You need to know your field well enough to know when the AI is confidently wrong. You are the ultimate quality control.
Your human intelligence is the final check. Makes sense.
Then there is ethical and responsible AI use. This isn't just a nice-to-have, it's becoming critical. Understanding data privacy rules, being aware of how algorithmic bias can lead to unfair outcomes, navigating the murky, still-evolving legal landscape around intellectual property for AI-generated content.
These are big risks if you get them wrong.
Huge risks, both personally and for your organization. Legal trouble, reputational damage. You need to be ethically literate in this space.
Okay. And you mentioned one more.
Yes, and this might be the most strategic one of all. Human-AI workflow design. This is about fundamentally redesigning how work gets done, figuring out which tasks are truly best suited for AI automation, and which absolutely require human creativity, critical thinking, empathy, complex judgment. Then you structure your workflows to blend those contributions effectively, maximizing the strengths of both human and machine.
So being the architect of the augmented workflow.
Exactly, like being the conductor of an AI-assisted orchestra, knowing exactly when each instrument should play and when the human soloist needs to take the lead.
That's a great analogy. So if these are the skills, how do people go about learning them? The education market for AI seems to be exploding too.
It is, which means you need to be deliberate, choose a path that fits your career goals. A one-size-fits-all approach probably isn't the most efficient.
Okay, so break it down for us. What about for, say, business leaders or general professionals who need the strategic overview?
For them, the focus should be less on the deep tech, more on implications, applications, responsible deployment. Some highly rated options here. DeepLearning.ai has a course called Generative AI for Everyone. It's non-technical, covers the basics, prompt engineering essentials, LLM concepts, ethical considerations. Pretty quick, maybe 1 to 4 weeks, usually subscription access.
Okay.
Then there's the Google Cloud Generative AI Leader Professional Certificate. This is more geared towards people who will actually lead AI initiatives. It covers prompt engineering, AI agents, using Google Cloud tools, data governance, strategic thinking. It's more involved in maybe 3-6 months, also subscription-based.
Got it. What about people who want to get more technical, aspiring practitioners who want to build or fine-tune these systems?
Right, for them you need deeper technical training. IBM offers a Generative AI Engineering Professional Certificate. This is quite comprehensive, covers Python, deep learning frameworks like PyTorch.
What's PyTorch?
Oh, sorry, it's a popular open source library for machine learning, widely used in research and development. The IBM CERT also covers LLMs, RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's a technique that helps AI models access external, up-to-date information so they don't just rely on their training data, leading to more accurate factual answers. The CERT also covers LangChain.
LangChain.
That's a framework that makes it easier to build applications powered by language models. So the IBM cert covers all that, plus model fine-tuning, building apps. It's a solid 6-month commitment subscription. Another great option is the AWS AI and ML Scholars program, run with Udacity. It gives hands-on experience with AWS tools like SageMaker.
SageMaker.
That's Amazon's big platform for building, training, and deploying machine learning models in the cloud. And also Bedrock, which is their service for accessing various foundation models. This program is about 4 months, and importantly, it's often scholarship-based.
Okay, lots of technical depth there. And finally, what about data professionals specifically, integrating AI into their work?
For them, specialized certifications are emerging too. Microsoft has a Gen AI for Data Analysis Professional Certificate. This focuses specifically on using AI for tasks like data cleansing, doing more advanced analysis, creating visualizations, particularly within the Microsoft ecosystem like Power BI. Again, maybe 3-6 months subscription.
It seems like continuous learning is just going to be the norm. These skills aren't just about doing your current job better, right? They're also about navigating the job market itself.
Absolutely. Which leads us perfectly into part V, activating your career trajectory with AI. Now, there's this interesting, almost contradictory advice out there about using AI when you're applying for jobs. Some say definitely use it, others warn against it, saying recruiters can tell.
Yeah, I've heard that. So what's the real story? Here's where it gets really interesting.
The expert take seems to be, don't think of AI as writing your application for you. Think of it as your personal optimization assistant. You combine AI's analytical power with your unique voice, your actual experiences.
Okay, so how does that work in practice? Walk us through an effective workflow.
All right, it's a few steps. First, job description analysis. Take the full job description, paste it into an AI tool. Then give it a smart prompt like, act as an expert recruiter. Analyze this job description and extract the top 10 critical keywords, required skills, and key action verbs.
Ah, so you get a target list.
Exactly. You get the precise vocabulary the employer is using, what they're really looking for. Step 2, resume customization. Now, take your existing resume and that keyword list. Prompt the AI. Compare my resume to these key requirements from the job description. Suggest ways to rephrase my existing bullet points to better align with this specific role using my original experiences.
So it helps tailor the language, but based on your actual history.
Crucially, yes. No making things up. It just helps you frame your real experience in the most relevant way for that specific job. Step 3, cover letter drafting and refinement. Tools like Grammarly's AI features can generate a decent first draft of a cover letter based on your resume and the job details. This beats staring at a blank screen.
But you don't just send that off, right?
Absolutely not. That's where your critical role comes in. You take that AI draft and you heavily edit it. You inject your personality, your voice. You add specific anecdotes that illustrate your skills, things only you know. You convey genuine interest in that company and that role in a way AI simply can't fake convincingly. You make it yours.
Okay. And the final step.
Final polish. Use AI one last time for a grammar check, clarity check, maybe adjusting the tone slightly to match what you know about the company culture. This whole process, it transforms you from just sending out generic applications to being an active analyst, optimizing your product, your application, and tailoring your messaging for each specific customer, the employer.
That's a much more strategic approach. Okay, so you've got the application tuned. What about the interview? Can AI help there too?
Definitely. AI offers tools that are like a judgment-free zone for practicing. It's great for building confidence and getting objective feedback. Platforms like Google's Interview Warm-Up or Final Round AI offer realistic practice questions. These are often designed by industry experts for specific roles. As you answer the questions out loud, the tool transcribes what you say in real time.
Okay, transcription is useful, but what's the real value add?
The real value is in the data-driven feedback. After your practice session, the AI analyzes your transcribed answers. It can tell you things like, did you actually mention the key job-related terms from the description? Did you overuse filler words like or like? How was your pacing? Was your language clear and concise? It's like having a personal interview coach on demand.
Giving you specific, actionable feedback.
Exactly. This personalized feedback lets you see exactly where you need to improve. Maybe your story about teamwork was weak. Maybe you didn't highlight a critical skill enough. Maybe you sounded hesitant. You practice, get feedback, refine your answers, practice again. It helps you build stronger narratives and gain the composure you need for the real thing. It turns practice into targeted improvement.
That sounds incredibly useful for preparation. Okay, so AI helps with getting the current job, but what about the jobs of the future, the roles that AI itself is creating?
Yes, the horizon. That brings us to part 6, the horizon of work, navigating emerging roles and future trends. You see this gap, right, between what the technology can do and how businesses actually apply it effectively. That gap is creating demand for new kinds of hybrid roles. A key example is the AI strategist, or maybe AI content strategist.
Okay, analyze that role for us. What does an AI strategist actually do? What does it signal about future high-value careers?
It signals that the future values people who can bridge the technical and the strategic. An AI strategist does much more than just pick tools. Their core responsibilities are broad. High-level strategic planning, identifying business problems AI can solve, creating roadmaps for deployment, designing governance, setting up content models, user journey taxonomies, QA protocols for AI use.
So, setting the rules of engagement.
Exactly. Plus, crucial cross-functional leadership, working with marketing, product design, engineering to make sure AI is integrated cohesively, not in silos, and overseeing initiatives, ensuring AI-driven content meets brand goals, that data insights actually feed back into strategy.
That sounds like a demanding role. What kind of skills do they need? It can't be just technical or just business.
Precisely. It's a unique blend. Foundational technical literacy is a must, understanding data science, machine learning concepts well enough to evaluate technologies. But that has to be combined with sharp business acumen, understanding the company's goals, and on top of that, exceptional soft skills. Communication to explain complex ideas simply, strategic problem solving, strong project management. It's the quintessential hybrid role for the AI age, pointing towards careers that fuse technical insight with human leadership and strategic foresight.
Okay, so that's an emerging role now. But looking further out, say, 2026 and beyond,
Yeah.
the AI we have today is just the beginning, right? To really future-proof, you need to anticipate the next waves, what's coming.
We're definitely just scratching the surface. One major shift experts predict is the rise of agentic AI.
Agentic AI, meaning
Think AI that moves beyond just responding to prompts to becoming more autonomous. AI agents that can understand a high-level goal, formulate a multi-step plan to achieve it, and then execute those steps with minimal human oversight. So instead of asking it to write an email, you might task it with launch a new marketing campaign for product X, targeting demographic Y.
wow, so AI taking initiative.
To a degree, yes, planning and executing complex tasks. Another big trend is mainstream multimodality. AI models won't just be text-based or image-based. They'll seamlessly understand, process, and generate content across all formats, text, image, audio, video, fluidly.
What does that enable?
Much richer applications. Imagine an AI analyzing a screenshot you provide, listening to your voice command about it, and then generating a short instructional video based on both inputs, or generating a full video ad campaign from a single creative brief that includes text, mood boards, and music samples.
Okay, that sounds powerful and potentially leads to extreme personalization.
Exactly. That's hyper-personalization at scale. AI's ability to generate unique content on the fly will enable personalization at a level we've never seen before. Think truly customized learning paths for every single student. Unique ad copy and visuals tailored to each individual consumer's profile and context. Even AI-generated entertainment stories, music created just for you. The idea of a single mass-market message might fade.
Which ultimately means AI is just everywhere in the workplace.
Pretty much. The AI-augmented workforce becomes standard. Human-AI collaboration won't be novel. It'll be the default way work gets done. Some projections suggest over 100 million people globally will be regularly interacting with robo-colleagues by 2026. AI becomes an integral collaborator, augmenting human skills across almost every single industry. It's full integration.
And if AI becomes more agentic, more autonomous, how does that change the key human skill? You mentioned prompt engineering earlier.
Right. The thinking is, as AI evolves from tool to agent, the most critical human skill also evolves. We might move beyond prompt engineering to something more like agent direction.
Agent direction.
Yeah. The ability to define a complex business goal, break it down into logical subtasks, and then orchestrate a team of specialized AI agents. Maybe a research agent, a coding agent, a design agent, a communication agent to work together to achieve that goal. The human becomes the conductor, the strategist overseeing the AI team. This puts a huge premium on systems thinking, strategic planning, project management skills needed to direct these powerful AI collaborators effectively.
That's a fascinating glimpse into the future. Exciting, definitely, but like any powerful tech, it comes with risks, with responsibilities.
Absolutely critical to remember that.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 7. A framework for responsible and strategic adoption. We need to be clear-eyed about the potential pitfalls to avoid, well, messing things up badly, legally, ethically, reputationally? What are the big risks we need to manage?
There are several key ones. First, data privacy and security. This is huge. If you feed sensitive company information, proprietary data, customer PII into prompts for public AI models, that data could potentially be absorbed, used for future training, effectively becoming public. It's a massive data breach risk, potentially violating regulations like GDPR.
Like accidentally leaking your secret formula.
Kind of, yeah. Second, algorithmic bias and fairness. AI models learn from data. If that data reflects existing societal biases around race, gender, age, whatever, the AI will learn and perpetuate those biases. This is incredibly dangerous if you're using AI for things like screening resumes, evaluating performance, or making loan decisions. It can lead to discriminatory outcomes and significant legal trouble. Understanding the bias in your training data is crucial.
Okay, what else?
The black box problem. Many sophisticated AI models lack interpretability and accountability. It's hard, sometimes impossible, to understand exactly why they made a particular decision or prediction. This makes accountability incredibly difficult when errors occur. If an AI misdiagnoses a patient or makes a flawed financial assessment, who is responsible? How do you even debug it if you can't see the reasoning?
That's a tough one, like a brilliant but secretive employee.
Exactly. And finally, the whole area of intellectual property and copyright is still very much in flux legally. Who owns the copyright to stuff created by AI? Does the data used to train the AI infringe on existing copyrights? Using AI for content creation without clear internal policies and understanding the legal landscape is a significant business risk. AI governance isn't just an IT issue, it's a core strategic function involving legal, HR, marketing, everyone to set robust rules.
Absolutely. So those are the big technical and legal risks. But you also mentioned psychological impacts earlier.
Yes, the human side is important too. We need to think about the human-AI collaboration model to mitigate potential downsides, like that productivity motivation paradox.
Right, where AI helps performance but might reduce motivation.
Yet, research suggests that while AI collaboration boosts short-term output, relying on it too heavily for cognitive or creative tasks can lead to lower intrinsic motivation, maybe increased boredom when people switch back to doing tasks without AI help. It seems to stem from a reduced sense of agency, of control, when you cede the thinking work to the machine.
So how do we counter that? How do we design a healthier collaboration?
Intentional design is key. One approach is to blend contributions. Don't just hand off the entire task to AI. Use AI as a starting point, maybe for the first draft or the basic research, but ensure the human remains responsible for the deep analysis, the unique insights, the final strategic decisions, the narrative shaping. Keep the human brain deeply engaged.
Okay, maintain human agency in the core parts.
Right. Another tactic is to design engaging solo tasks. Be deliberate about workflow design. Alternate AI-assisted tasks with projects that are cognitively demanding and require purely human creativity, autonomy, and decision-making. Give people opportunities to flex those mental muscles without AI.
Keep the human skills sharp.
Exactly. And finally, promote transparency. Be really clear and open about how AI is being used as an assistant, a tool to augment human capabilities, not as a replacement. This helps maintain employee buy-in, ownership, and a sense of fulfillment. They need to see AI as empowering them, not diminishing them.
Okay, those are great principles. Let's wrap up with some concrete best practices for actually implementing this effectively and sustainably. First,
develop prompting discipline. This is fundamental. Go beyond simple questions. Master crafting detailed, context-rich prompts. And for teams, it's really valuable to establish shared standards, maybe even libraries of effective master prompts for common tasks to ensure consistency and quality.
Right, treat prompting as a real skill. Second,
implement a human-in-the-loop validation process. I can't stress this enough. Never trust AI output blindly, especially for anything important. Always have a human expert review and validate critical AI-generated content for accuracy, relevance, bias, and common sense. It's your safety net.
absolutely essential. Third,
Understand and manage costs. Remember, running these powerful generative AI models can be computationally intensive, which means expensive. Monitor your usage patterns, understand the pricing structures of the tools you use, and set budgets to avoid nasty surprise bills.
good practical advice. And finally,
Build a strong data strategy. The old saying, garbage in, garbage out, is truer than ever with AI. The quality, relevance, and appropriateness of the data you feed the AI directly determines the quality of its output. Good data governance is essential for getting reliable, trustworthy results and for ensuring security. You need good fuel for the AI engine.
excellent best practices. So, as we bring this deep dive to a close, any final provocative thought for our listeners to chew on?
Well, this raises an important question, I think. As AI increasingly handles the doing, the writing, the coding, the analyzing, doesn't it follow that the most valuable human contribution increasingly becomes the deciding and the directing?
The higher level functions.
Exactly. So consider this. How might fully embracing that agent direction mindset we talked about transform not just the task you do, but your entire approach to problem solving? How can cultivating that skill prepare you not just to react to the AI-powered future, but to actively lead within it?
That's a powerful thought indeed. Shifting from task doer to strategic director, it really underscores that this is an incredibly exciting, albeit challenging time for professionals. So what does this all mean for you? It means the future isn't about if you use AI. It's about how strategically, how thoughtfully, and how responsibly you integrate it into your career path.
Well said.
We really encourage you to explore the ideas we've discussed today. Maybe start by digging deeper into one of those core competencies, or perhaps experimenting with an AI tool that seems relevant to your work. Keep learning, keep adapting, and continue your deep dive journey into this fascinating world of career augmentation with generative AI.